Oh, yes, ma'am, you can start now.
Yeah. Warm greetings to everyone who have gathered here for this yet another live session, live masterclass session. And the topic is is also it should be interesting for you all. I hope storytelling. Ma'am, storytelling. The two in sales. Storytelling, kaise? How come it is? You will be having a lot of questions like that. How can storytelling, sales, selling, closing the deals, how come it happens? See, when we were child, actually, when we were kids, actually, we used to ask our parents like to tell some stories because neend ke time, actually, by the time when the night comes, we will tell our parents, please hit stories now. Okay, and then parents also what they will do, they just want to set some moral, they just want to transfer certain moral so that you will remember because there is a general saying that what has been told in the night to the kids, it will last long forever in their life, it will last long. So that is a general thing which parents are asked to tell stories nowadays, read stories. It's not only when they are very very small or when they are in the infant stage, even after some ages also, when you read stories, this will definitely have an impact, and later on what happened, that particular habit will be inculcated by the kids also, so that they will also start reading books, and that book reading habit will be generated by the students, like it will happen as if on their own, like since they are listening to a lot of stories from their parents, obviously that sort of habit will that is, it will be with them forever. So that is really a good vibe we need to create for the kids. Okay, so if I say storytelling means, immediately we will remember that what is that we need to do with sales. As I told you that we are very hungry for stories. We are very much thirsty. Tell me a story because we want to listen. Story hai to we will all listen like this. Even if you see my students also, I will be teaching business law classes. You know what they will do? They will be listening to all those things. But once the case study comes, means they'll be like this. Karke. Kyun? Because that they can relate easily to that subject. Whatever be the topic, they can easily relate. That relateness or relatedness or that connection will happen only when we tell them or satisfy them through stories, examples, case studies, etc. Think about a law class means everybody will be totally, they will be in what to say, drowsy type, because it all will be, sections will be there, subsections will be there, subdivisions will be there, all these they need to remember. And immediately what business law teachers like me, what we will do is we will immediately take them to the world of some cases. Some wonderful cases happened on that particular topic we used to relate, because they should not have that feeling, are mujhe to itna sections yaad rakhna hai, I have to remember all the subdivisions of sections, ye to bahut mushkil hai. They should not feel like that. So what we will do is, we used to give them some instances, we used to give them some case studies, so they will easily relate to, okay, madam ne wo padhaya, wo particular topic ka consultation ka ek example bola, ek case study hua, which year, and they will remember that. So it's not that they will not get interest, they have to, somewhere we need to create interest as an educator. Okay, likewise what your parents did when you were child, that since they want you they read stories and they were telling stories to make you sleep. Okay, so you will also listening to that stories and you will fall asleep. So every day this will become what, an habit for you. And later you want to listen to stories, and you yourself want to, what do you want to do, you really want to listen stories and you want to read stories, and you want to immerse in it. Even while eating also you'll have a book and read. Why? That has become an habit. So what is that I need to, I'm going to connect with sales. See, the topic I have chosen is the power of storytelling in sales. It's an art of closing deals, is it? Let us see, let us jump into that, why I'm saying that the power of storytelling in sales, and that is an art of closing deals. Sales itself is an art, and that too, storytelling in sales is a beautiful art. Okay, let us create that art now. Before that, let me just share the screen and let us straight away jump into the session Here we go. One moment, please. Yes, we are Skill Edge, Sales Edge, B2B and D2C tech driven sales, new age business development career, and we are the award-winning vernacular-led skill tech, edu-tech platform found by teachers and industry veterans, preparing graduates and postgraduates for new age career ready, making them day one analyst job ready in 12 to 14 weeks. And our journey is 7,000 plus hours of video content, 25,000 students skilled already, 100% institution, 100 plus institutions already onboarded, and 200 plus companies are connected with us. And this is our team, Mr. Rohit Ghosh, CEO and founder, Mr. Prakash Bhatna, CRO, and the CFO and co-founder, Mr. Shailendra Marathe and Sandeep Kumar, CMO. And this is our advisory board right in front of you. And right, let us go today's evening, the masterclass session. And the topic is the power of storytelling in sales. Okay. So when I opened up the topic by saying that how story has impacted my students, has also impacted the kids as well. Like you were also being kids and you would have listened to a lot of stories. You might be reading also even now, even at the age of, 25 or even 40. It's never ending. Once you start reading, nobody can stop you. Okay, so we have that thirst, we have that hungry, that please tell me a story. Mujhe to ek kahani sunao na. Like we will be behind our mama or papa, please tell me a story karke. You know? So a good salesperson, he knows how to talk. That I no need to tell, that he knows how to talk. But a great salesperson knows how to tell a story. Kahani bhi batana, actually he has to tell the story, and the same way he has to convince the prospect and close the deal. So sales stories, if you take, they have a profound effect on our brains and also on our behavior. Okay, so when we consider the stories, we always go with the morals that teaches them actually. Okay, for example, if you take the hare and tortoise, slow and steady wins the race. Like that, for example, if you take the monkey and the crocodile, the hare, and as I told you, the hare and the tortoise, and lots of stories are there. You probably, you remember the morals you learned as a child through these stories all through your life. This is mostly because these stories were very much engaging. Please, my dears, please, everybody, those who are watching my video live now, please understand that all these stories, they were not only interesting, they are engaging. When you were a child and they stayed in your mind forever. Now, anytime if you are saying, mujhe to pata hai. You know the monkey and the crocodile? Yeah, I know that. So thus stories have the lasting power because it has the moral in it. Some sort of, what is it? We have that sort of interest is there. It also engages. So that is what that will stay in our mind forever and ever. So if you take good story, they have the ability to captivate you, grab your attention, and create that engagement. This engagement is very, very important when you listen or learn or read a story. Okay, so it can even interest you enough to buy something. Yeah, one story, I want the next. I want Harry Potter Jessa stories. Once when you start reading the one, chapter 2, like that, you keep on collecting books. Likewise, if you take all the novels, like detective novels, one is over, another like that, it will keep on going. Okay, so that is what. So these days, if you talk about why we are saying that the storytelling is extremely powerful sales tool, but when it is used right, simply for storytelling sake, you cannot say something to convince your customers. You cannot do that. I want to close the deal, so mujhe to kuch na kuch story sunana hai, so I will tell the stories. Don't think that customers are that buddhu. They are not that fools. They can also understand your pulses. The way you understand the pulse, they will also understand the seller's pulse. You know? So these days, the features and benefits of something you are trying to sell are often enough to generate the interest. So you are using only the storytelling to engage more prospects and close more deals. That is why we are making stories, or we are telling stories, so that we are engaging more prospects. So you are using this storytelling as a great, a great gateway to engage more and more of prospects and close more sales deals. Okay, so now let me just tell you one example in this. One moment, yeah. You can see in the screen that this is one company. A great example of this is this Dollar Shave Clubs. Okay, that is what happened. They launched a video that has become a legendary one. Where in that, if you would have seen that video, in which the CEO of the company, he used to walk around the company. Okay, and walk around the company's warehouse, and he used to tell the story of the company's origin. Because when he walks around the origin warehouse, you can see that people working there actually. Okay, so in amidst that warehouse, he is telling the story. He's telling about the company's origin, and this video, my dears, that it has been viewed over 26 million times, and it has generated more than 12,000 orders within 2 days of posting that video. If you can, you please try that video also. If you put this particular thing, you can get that gentleman who will be in the warehouse, and he will be telling about the story of the company's origin and everything. You can right away, by seeing the slide itself, you can just click into the Google and watch that video. The company's name is Dollar Shave Club. He's talking only about, see that what is that he's talking about, and how the company has been started, how it has, that idea been generated, all that thing only. But the way he tells, the way he engages the audience right in front of him, that's more important. So 26 million the views, 12,000 orders. And what happened? Late in the year 2016, the company was acquired for $1.1 billion. Imagine. So what has created an impact here? The ultimate growth hack is storytelling. Storytelling in sales. See, he has launched his product, being in the warehouse, telling about the company's origin, and the way he has told, and the way he was explaining about the start of the company, how it has started, bought, and where. And what is that they do? Every such thing in a video, which his thought is only to create an impact for the audience. So that he did, and he has succeeded. So that is what we say, that this storytelling, it's a very, 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 there is no sale without the story, no knockout without the punch. If you are not giving the punch, that person will not, you cannot think about, you cannot be a winner. You have to knock down somebody. So there is no sale without the story. There is no knockout without the punch. Means story is not it's not a technique. It is a way of thinking. Because when you are comfortable enough when what you're selling, when you know, as I tell always, when you know about the product, when you know about the company, when you know about the market, when you know about your competitor, when you have got enough knowledge about what you're talking, storytelling, it will come automatically. It is nothing but the way of thinking. These stories, it can inspire change from the inside out, because we say that change is driven first by emotion. When salespeople talk in black and white, you just imagine, my dears, when they talk in black and white, like facts, pura data, analysis, like people's brain only light up in two areas. But when salespeople add some color, people, places, anecdotes, like storytelling, they trigger brain activity in 7 areas. You know that? That is what, simply if you talk about the fact, last year data, current year data, previous 5 years ka data, okay, good, Baba, everybody will understand. They know already that what you are doing, and they got the facts and figures that you can even give in the black and whites. But what is the need to talk? People will fall asleep. Okay, we got it. We have got in hands. What is that you're trying to say? How you're going to convince me to get the product? That is more important. So you talk about people, you talk about places, tell some story. So this will trigger the brain activity immediately. So those people, those who are sleeping, also they will wake up when you start telling a story. You'd have seen in colleges or in schools. When the facts and figures or when the numbers are going on, everybody will be like this. The moment teacher, once upon a time, that's all, everybody will be like this. You can just see the bright light at the back of them. Why? Because that is what it triggers the brain activity in all the areas, in 7 areas. See, who you need. We all know that who's our target audience and what you're selling. Incorporating an engrossing story into your sales presentation allows you to what? You can entertain them, you can engage them, and also educate your audience. Entertain, engage, educate your audience. So storytelling can help you hit your sales very, very fast because it works. Why it works? People love hearing about characters who face and how they overcome the challenges. Of course, उन्होंने क्या क्या struggle किया life में, उसका जो challenges उन्होंने कैसे beat करके, how they came back with the bang, we say, na? The struggle they underwent to launch their empire. So all these things, when they learn about all these things, they will also, it is a morale booster for them. It will definitely motivate them. So when it comes to sales presentations, people are tired of this PowerPoint. They prefer stories because they make a connection. Connection is very important. Engaging them, educating them, entertaining them. Some humor also, if you say and if you present, you are going to be the master in sales. I tell you. You're going to be the, what to say, we call the superstar, sales superstar. Definitely you all will become. But what is that? We need to, because PowerPoint mein itna zara text, aisa mat dalo. When you give one image, that image should have the captivity of what the presenter is trying to say. About the product, about the company, come on, itna sari, don't give all those text messages, only an eye-catching image. And then you need to talk, because everybody should focus on you. They have to look at your eyes. What this person is telling is quite interesting. They should sit like this, observe you like this, and not like this sort of gesture. It automatically sounds that, okay, what is that you are telling is pura figures and facts, and they are not, that is not captivating. So they prefer stories because they make a connection. When you tell a story, you reach out, you connect on a personal as well as the emotional level. Stories give your listener an insight into what drives you, your why, rather than your what. That is why I say that stories show that you are human and authentic. It makes people like you and trust you. That connection you will definitely have. What a fabulous story. That customer ka experience, itna acha bola apne, bahut badhiya thi actually, really. How come the struggle they would have underwent? Actually, they will also get into that. They will get immersed into that. That sort of connection we need to have. Listeners, they remember the stories up to 22 times more often than facts and figures. When you start about the facts and figures, they will be like this. But once when you start about listeners, when they remember the stories, they remember the story. If you say the stories, they will definitely remember. And that is better than the facts and figures. If you say facts and figures alone, they may not remember, but they may remember the stories which you said. हाँ उस दिन वो बताया ना आपने, वो बहुत अच्छा था. Is that they are still your customers? Very nice actually. What a wonderful experience they had. So because the listener's mind, it sync up with the storyteller's mind in a process called, we call it as what, neural coupling. Neural coupling का मतलब जो connection है ना, when you say the story with emotions, with humor, with all that which is required for a storytelling, you say with that, what is it, level, with their gesture, with your body movement and everything, when you say like that, that will definitely enter the people's brain. Sales isn't just finding and winning opportunities. Remember that. It's about driving change, helping buyers get from where they are now to a better place. So it would be nice to simply be able to state to someone, you are here, you should be there, and have them see the light. But that isn't how it happens. Only when you tell stories and take buyers on an emotional journey. Buyers don't just understand where they want to be, they feel it. When you tell the stories, they will immerse as the character, they feel it and see it also. If that feeling is different and better than how they feel now, they will be compelled to do something about it and do it only with you. Because that connection they have, that emotional bond they started having, once they start having that, they will not go out from you. They will be your customer. Be certain in that. Now, you may be asking that, okay, madam, but why we need to tell the stories in sales? Why we need to do that? Because as I tell you, stories sell. But how can you simply sum it up like stories sell, ma'am? See, people pay attention to stories, as I told you, more than your data, facts, and figures, and all your sales pitches. The way you pitch the sales. They are engaging, data and pitches aren't. You need to engage them. So they pay attention to stories. So they just want to get connected and they just want to get engaged. All the datas and the figures and the facts you give and the pictures you make, that's not going to fetch them. And the stories, they are really fun. People listen to podcasts. That's what I tell my students, to watch podcasts, read books, click through and interact with friends every day to learn more through stories. Learn the best salesman, how they have become the world's best salesman. Watch, listen to podcasts. Because these stories, they add fun. When you add that in your speech, when you add that in your sales pitch, that's really going to fetch you more sales orders. So you need to read books, click through, and that is, you can interact with friends. There is something to learn every day, my dear. Salespeople, they want to tell more and more of stories because prospects and customers, first of all, they remember. Say that is the prospects, or we can call the potential customers, whomsoever it may be, the salespeople, they want to tell stories. They have to tell stories because those customers, they remember them because you said stories. In a study also, they say that 22 times they remembered stories 22 times more than the facts and data, as I told you now. So they remember, engage with you. The brain is more engaged with the story. You know that? Audiences, they connect with the movement, they connect with the smell, color, shape, and the language you speak and relate. The prospects and the customers, they remember, they engage, and they relate. As much as your story is about other people, places, and situations, your prospects and customers will relate their experiences to what you say. Because that story creates an emotional journey. They will also think that, अरे same way हमने भी trouble किया, हमको भी ऐसा हुआ, इतना struggle किया हम लोग. They will relate. It's an emotional connection. So this story creates an emotional journey for the buyer. They make themselves the passenger on the story's ride, going through the, what is it, garnet of emotions. You present such as what you connect everything by means of worry, anticipation, frustration, success, and happiness. Everything is there because when you watch a film, everything will be there. There will be humor, there will be sadness, there will be happiness, there will be jitra masti, everything will be there. That is what. So that is the way, because they are also traveling with us like a passenger. And those emotions they expect: worry, anticipation, frustration, success, happiness. So this will definitely create an impact, my dears. Definitely, the storytelling is, what to say, it really sells. That is what I said, that stories sell. How? Because when you tell more and more of stories, the prospects will remember you, they will get engaged, they will relate with their own experience, their own stories, or their own struggles, which they will relate to it. Oh my God, I also had the same sort of problem, situation I also faced. Really, you can see all those emotions from the customer's face. It happens. So here I want to tell you something like, if you remember the scene from the movie Wolf of the Wall Street. Okay, I think you know this gentleman who is right here, Leonardo Caprio, who is a stockbroker and he sells shares to customers via phone. अरे मैडम ये तो क्यों बोलना है आप? Why I have taken this particular, this is a video, actually I have just taken a image only to just show you that you can also watch this film. That's what movie Wolf of the Wall Street. He will also tell in that movie, come on, sell this pen to all those gentlemen there, because in sales this is a question you cannot forget, you can never bypass, you cannot leave it and go. Any interviews may, come on, sell this pen. It happens. Please watch this movie and you can get that, how a salesman need to be, how you can close a deal. So here in this particular movie, Wolf of the Wall Street, Leonardo, he's a stockbroker and he sells the shares to customer over phone. He uses his art of, what he did is, uh, as I told you, he's a stockbroker and he's convincing his customer via phone. What he did, he uses, actually everybody used the art of what is it, storytelling. He also did the same by convincing a person that a garage into a world-class facility and sell him a huge amount of shares. Garage into a world-class facility and sell him a huge amount of shares. That's it. This is the way you can convince, short, sweet, convince your clients and get them your side by these talents. This will make the listener interesting, what to say, to listen more from you. They just want to listen more from you. Whenever your call comes also, they'll be, oh, okay, something interesting is going to be there. They will have that pulse. They can feel it. And in another example, I would like to share that this is also, you know, about this gentleman, Jeffrey P. Bezos, founder and chief executive officer Amazon. What is that? I'm going to talk about him. You know what Jeff Bezos did in a letter to shareholders? He's a founder and CEO. We all know that. He delivered a message with a story. What he tells the readers of a friend attempting the perfect handstand. Okay, perfect handstand. What is he did? What is that he did? He tells readers of a friend attempting the perfect handstand. No leaning against a wall, not for just a few seconds. Instagram good, he explained. He spoke of a friend who learned they would need weeks of regular practice to make a perfect handstand look easy. See the way he has narrated the story. Because Bezos was sharing a narrative about the perils of unrealistic expectations. It's critical that a person or a team is realistic about the work that will be required to achieve a goal. This story, if you say, the story also served as an example of how effective communicators connect with listeners. Jeff also did the same. Jeff Bezos explained that meetings in the office don't unfold with slides. He tells all the person, please don't give so many slides. Instead, presenters write narratively structured 6-page memos. Don't unfold with slides. Instead, presenters, they will narrate 6-page memos, storytelling. The reason is stories are an appeal to our emotions, and emotions drive action. If you cry, see, when you see a story, when you see a film, if you are very emotional and if that story made you cry, will you remember that story? Definitely. Even when you come back home also, you will talk about to everybody. You will call your parents, you will call your sibling, hey, fantabulous movie, it made us cry. It made me cry. I never cry for all these things, but that person really, through his acting, he made me cry. That is the success of the film. Same thing, the success of selling also is storytelling. That emotion will definitely, what is it? That stories are an, as I told you, it is an appeal to our emotions, and that appeal and that emotions, it will definitely drive actions, closer deals. So building your sales organization's ability to use storytelling in their conversations with customers to enhance what? The team's ability to communicate, connect, and ultimately compel customers. It will make the customers voluntarily, they will go and they will release the purchase order. Okay, I just want to enter the contract with you. Jaisa hi uska soch hoga, because that story was really, what to say, it is a mere communication to them that they loved it. So it will enhance the way you get communicate, you connect, and it will ultimately compel the customers to close the deal. That is the benefit of storytelling. What are the benefits? If you can just derive from what I said now, the instances, you can derive certain benefits of the storytelling in sales. It attracts the attention from customers, complete attention. The moment I gave the facts and figures, nobody is showing that much interest. But the moment when I started the story, everybody is froze. It attracts the attention from customers. It conveys more about a company's brand and purpose. It promotes hard to sell products by highlighting the benefits. By doing this, what you can do, you can gain customer interest and then sets businesses apart from competitors. You are establishing what? Meaningful connection with customers when compared with competing businesses that use traditional sales strategies. And also the benefits of storytelling is it helps close sales by inspiring customers. It motivates repeat sales. These storytelling initiatives, what they can do, they can influence repeat sales with your business. So always remember, I'm going to give you, as I told you, the benefits. Please remember this 5 steps to tell a better story in your next sales presentation. Shall we go? What is that? What are the 5 steps you need to remember when you tell a good or a better story in your next sales presentation? Start with buyer personas. Start with buyer personas. Uska matlab kya hai? The simple fact of the matter is that you can't use storytelling effectively until you know who you are speaking to. Buyer persona, who you are speaking to. That's because the most impactful stories resonates differently with different people. It should resonate. Everybody will not take it in the same way. That is what we have one concept called reviews. After the movie, people will be asked for kaisa tha, kaise the movie actually, is it nice? One will say, yeah, it is very good, but thoda to very slow hai, but overall it is very good. Some will say that fabulous. Some will say that okay, one time we can see. Likewise, we'll get a lot of reviews. And that is what, because The most impactful stories, it will resonate differently with different people. Learn the principles of storytelling. If you have existing buyer personas ready with you, the key elements to familiarize yourself with them are the pain points of your buyer experience. Very, very important. What are the pain points of your buyer's experience? Kahan attack karna hai usko? The language they use to communicate these challenges, as well as what are the issues they are facing, how they see themselves, so खुद को कैसे देखते हैं actually, how they are seeing themselves, their role in the decision making process, their role in the organization. And if, for example, you see, if you don't have buyer personas in place already, there has never been a better time to build them. That is what, if you know that fortunately this HubSpot, they have plenty of solutions to get you started, including the Make My Persona tool and a library of free buyer persona resources. Every, like not only HubSpot, you have got a lot of others, they do have this actually. So where and how you need to create the buyer personas. So the first and foremost, which I said, the first step is start with buyer personas. Secondly, learn the principles of storytelling. Once you know who you are speaking to, आपको तो पता है अभी किससे बात करना है, you can begin constructing a story that's custom, tailored to their needs. So to do that, what you need to understand the principles underlying in all the great stories. उसका तो principles जो कुछ होता है ना, वो क्या है? There are 4 principles of storytelling. पता है आपको? It is not defined by me. It is defined in Kahn's Medium article. Okay, that is, they have given a framework for the storytelling, and that involves 4 elements. First one is the character. What, according to Kahn's, this character is, the main character gives the story focus and personality. Character development describes changes that a character undergoes during the course of the narrative. In the sales context, if you want me to talk, your character is whom? Your customer, है ना? Depending on the specific type of story you decide to tell, your character might be an actual customer you have served in the past. That is going to be the story. Customer is the hero. You have to take only the past. आपको जो customer है, उसको जो कैसे आपको उसका the pain points, how you have relieved them, how they are how you made them achieve those challenges which they had. So those stories only. So you need to depend on the specific story or type of a story you decide to tell, because your character might be an actual, because you have already served certain customers in the past, or it may be a more generic amalgamation of common customer traits. ऐसा भी बताना है आपको, no problem. In any case, whatever it may be, the goal of defining your character is to create what? A compelling hero for your story, in order to buy into your narrative, your prospective customers. Because they have to see elements of themselves in the main character of your story. They have to see themselves. Maybe actually I have also experienced the same. They need to connect with it. Yeah, correct. दूसरा जो element है context. Context provides what? The framework for a story. Kahn's here, he says that both internal as well as the external context must be considered. Using stories in the context, because we need to speak contextual. That's what we say. In which context you are saying, whether it is sad or happy, which context you are saying that particular word. That is more important in storytelling. Because using the stories in the context of sales presentation means what? That the audience will be your sales prospect, and the presentation will be your medium. You likely won't need to spend much time brainstorming these factors. No need. Third one is conflict. The heart of a good story is nothing but conflict. Think about every great book you have ever read, or any movie you have ever watched. You will see that it's conflict that captivates our attention and drives the plot forward. Same thing applies in sales presentation, my dears. Your story will fall flat if there isn't some conflict your main character must overcome. Something that struggle has happened, and the way we went there and we solved the problem. हम तो क्या किया, वो time पर delivery होना है, ये तो बहुत बारिश थी इतना. You have to create that picture in the mind of the customer. The way you narrate the story, that conflict situation should happen. Otherwise, it's not a story. Nobody will take that as a story. For your prospective customers to get invested, your character must face what? The character is whom? Customer must face some relatable risk and tangible potential for loss. And what you did, how you as since your customer is hero, what is that as a seller you did to solve their problem? Then creation. Khan's here says that creation pulls together characters, context, and conflict. What all I said, all the three elements. Creation, it is a mixture of characters, context, and conflict into one comprehensive narrative. Have you ever listened to someone tell a long-winded story that seemingly never gets to the point? He doesn't know that why he is telling the story. हमको तो ऐसा होता है actually, क्यों ऐसा बोल रहे? Actually, what sort of story he is telling? What is that he is trying to say? Or otherwise, one that rushes the narrative in such a way that the impact of the supposed conflict is lost. These are failures of creation. You don't know how to create a story. And if you commit them in your sales presentation, you have wasted all the time and effort that and also went into constructing your story in the first place. So, kya karna hai? When you have decided that you want to tell a story, you have to think about these elements. Character, your customer, context, on which context you're going to talk. There should be some conflict because for that only you're telling the story, that how you solved that problem. The customer had a problem, he was facing the risk, and how you jumped as a hero for the hero, how you jumped and you solved the problem. So creation. Got it? So the first and foremost thing which I said is the first in the steps of story for your next presentation, what you need to remember, start with buyer personas. Then the second one is learn the principles of storytelling. Learn about the character, learn the context, learn the conflict, and also the creation. Number 3 is transform positive customer experiences into stories. Now that you know the basics of good story construction, hey or nay? Yes? Okay. Then you have to go back to the pain points, PAIN, pain points you identified when working with buyer personas. And you have to try to match them with success stories from past customers who solved similar problems using your product or service. आपका product use करने के बाद उसको तो कैसे खुशी मिला, है ना? कस्टमर का जो पॉजिटिव एक्सपीरियंस बहुत जरूरी है, वही से हम स्टोरी बन सकते हैं एक्चुअली फॉर द नेक्स्ट सेल्स. Because your character is very much important. The internal context of the story is important. The conflict to play in your story could be your character's company falling short of sales projections. So all these are very, very important. And number 4 is incorporating your stories into your sales presentations. As I told you, building stories is only a part of the battle. But the way you create your story depends on how exactly you plan to incorporate your final story that should be into your sales presentations. Don't just jump or dump all the story. What all you think that you cannot just keep on giving to the customers. Okay, so please don't just dump your stories and then run. Infuse them into your sales presentations in the way that support the overall narrative you are trying to create. Sharing a story at the beginning of your presentation can capture your prospect's attention. Please keep it in mind. At the beginning, how a sales pitch or how a sales presentation need to be, begin with the story. Once upon a time, like that, when we start, how we will just look at wide, our eyes will be wide open, everywhere the lights are on. Imagine like that, all are listening to me, and I'm now going to narrate the story. Just create that mood. It will definitely capture your prospect's attention. Storytelling in the middle can refocus your targets if the energy in the room is lagging. Don't tell it in the middle. In between, if you say that, the target's energy might go on after telling all the facts and figures. Now you start the story, there is some lagging. Sharing stories throughout your presentation helps support some, the benefits you are describing. What are the key features and benefits you are describing? And sharing story at the end of your presentation, it encourages the prospects to put themselves in the shoes of your character. I repeat, if you start the story in the beginning of your presentation, you can capture your prospects' attention. Perfect. Story in the middle, you have to, it can refocus your targets if the energy in the room is lagging and the vibes and energy might be less. Sharing stories throughout your presentation may help support key features or the benefits you are trying to describe, because you're telling a lot of stories, a lot of experiences you have. And sharing a story at the end of your presentation, it encourages prospects to put themselves in the shoes of your character. And the fifth point you need to remember, or the fifth step you need to remember in your sales presentation, when you want to tell the story, is evaluating the performance of your stories. Madam, ये तो कैसे कर सकती हूँ मैं? Even you know that there are stand-up comedians. Even the best stand-up comedians, they spend months, my dears. It's not easy. They come to the stage and they make you laugh every minute. Stand-up comedians, jo bolte hain actually. We have lot. And they have to keep on make you laugh. It should be humorous throughout. Every sentence they say, there should be some gesture in the form of humor, or the way they narrate, or the way they tell, the words they use, or the sentence they use, or the way they connect with, everything should be of humorous, because people have come to relax. Best comedians also, they spend months, even I can say years also they spend. They need to test new material to see how audiences react. That's because they know that while some stories will create powerful connection with their listeners, but many, it cannot. What you need to understand, the good news is that you will immediately know if your stories aren't working. If people are really engaged, I told you already in the last session also, masterclass session, your body language in the sales presentation. If people are engaged, they will maintain eye contact. They will lean forward. They will come forward to listen. Like this they will be, because it's very interesting. They'll be looking at you like this. Okay, like that they will be start listening. That eye contact will be more powerful. So from two things you can derive that, whether they'll lean forward in their seats, make encouraging noises. Wow, so nice, brilliant, something they will say. Some sort of signals they will say. They give some positive signals. They lean forward in their seats. They will maintain the perfect eye contact. All this or nothing, but you can learn that. What is that the result? Or you can perform, that is, you can evaluate the performance of your stories. Are they maintaining good eye contact with me? Are they leaning forward in their seats? Do they make encouraging noises? Or do they give some positive signals? Obviously, now you just think about the stand-up comedians. If nobody laughs, they will not continue. Something is lagging. Oh my God, I've done some, I need to do homework. It's not that you have to be storytelling in sales presentation. I don't say that it should be full of humor. Somewhere we need to mix up the humor also. It's required. Nobody can keep their face very serious. The story bol rahi, actually, come on, we need to listen. So nahi hai. So they're shifting attention or their glances at their phone. You can see that 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 is the lack of, if they don't want to engage with you, you can feel their lack of engagement also. How you can see responses will be very limited, the clappings will be, or the applaud will be very less, or they will be shifting their attention towards their phone, they will watch mobile, they'll be seeing something else because they just want to be there, they will be there, that's all, for being sake, and they don't pay any attention, their attention will directly go to the phone. You can get it easily. So these are the 5 steps you need to remember while telling stories in the sales presentation. Okay, let us move further with the types of storytelling. What are the various types? You need to remember that 66% of sellers think buyer behavior is changing faster than sales can adopt. You know that? How I am saying this? How I am going to justify this? Let us know about this through types of storytelling in sales. Now you know that what are the, what is it? Is there any methods of sales? Is there any sales method to tell stories? Organization stories. Organizing the story. For example, organization story. उसका मतलब क्या है? This is a method that make use of your company's unique origin story, that you're telling about the company, how it has been started. You're talking about the organization. So we call it as organization story. It refers to what you have to highlight the problem your product has identified and how you tried or aimed to solve. It's nothing but a persuasive, brief founding story that helps humanize your company and offer a fresh peek into your value and purpose. दूसरा जो है customer story. For example, case studies and customer testimonials, they are immensely powerful tool to make use of sales pitch. Why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? Well, if you take a customer who has previously benefited due to the use of your product, they are very happy with your product. As much as more credible advocate to your prospective customers over another vendor or another salesperson. Third one is business story. That is, here you talk about the story of another business or another industry that is not associated with your customer's business. This way you can give away some astonishing insights into problems, solutions, or opportunities. In this, I would tell you an example. I remember an example here. If you take I have to say it's a tale, okay? What has happened to Nokia company? You know that Nokia failure case studies. No, it's becoming a talk of any business story. They take Nokia failure case studies. It shows that as a company, Nokia failed to adapt and foresee the shift to smartphones in the way that Apple and Android did. Now you can make use this story to talk about your adaptive value while pitching in a B2B type of business. Am I right? So you can also make use of same story to pitch a drastically new and unseen technology that people may be hesitant to adopt. So Nokia's case study has been taken as a good business story that is such an experience. Why? What is that? Why they failed? And then personal story. Using your own personal experience to shed light on a subject is very, very powerful and memorable tool. They will never forget, because people love to listen to stories. See, when you talk about yourself, when you talk about your own pain story or a successful story, they will listen like this. Because it is from others. No, it's not their stories. We are talking about us. Unlike most business-based stories, personal stories will definitely help form a stronger emotional connection with your customers. But it must be noted that there may be customers or businesses for whom a personal story is not appropriate, because peoples are human, and at the end of the day, it will respond to a very tight or well told, purposeful personal story. So we need to focus on why you are telling the story, and remember to stop your personal story when your point has been conveyed. Once you start stretching it, it will go somewhere. So we need to stop at a point that, okay, Baba, ye to bas hai, theek hai. मैं बहुत ज़्यादा ही मेरे बारे में बोला actually. So you need to stop at some extent. So stories as sales tools, how you can get the clients. As I told you, any old story will not, any old story will not do if the story is to be a successful sales tool. So craft the plot carefully or maximum effectively. You need to, craft the plot, because we need to create a script in a story means there should be a script. Paint a picture. Use some concrete details, the specifics of a story. Create the connection in the listener that makes the story universal. ऐसा ही आपको तो picture paint करना है. And you have to keep the story also very, very relevant. The story must create a connection between the listener and the service or a product you are selling. And then suspense sells. Obviously, anything you just bring it to suspense. Oh my goodness. So every successful story, it contains a problem and there is a solution. Every product or service, it solves a problem or meets a need. We know that. No wonder then that sales and stories are just a piece in a pod. So you need to paint a picture. You need to keep it relevant. You have, and please remember that suspense and how you solve the problem. It sells. Like how Sherlock Holmes at last finds the this one missing or haunted this one or whatever it is. He at last only finds that, and how he finds that suspense been open or that suspense been broken out at the end. Like that only your sales also need to be. You need to paint a picture. You have to keep it relevant, and that suspense really sells, my dears. And stick to the truth. Because trust is the foundation of every relationship. Lies destroy that trust immediately and your credibility along with it. Use best practices as example, because this highlights your skills and also provide value to the listener who can learn from them. With good preparation, nothing stands in the way of your getting more clients with storytelling. Please remember that. You need to prepare well, practice well. You need to do some homework. Nothing comes overnight. Just like that in a platter, no, nothing will come. With good preparation, definitely, you will get more clients with storytelling. So, if you ask me that how you can enhance, madam, the sales through storytelling, let me just tell you some approaches and wind up the session. The bait and switch approach. BAIT, bait and switch, SWITCH. It's nothing but you have to start with an undeniable truth that cannot be contested. Next, you have to name the enemy. By naming the enemy in your sales pitch story, you already incorporate novelty and intrigue as elements in your story. And then lastly, what you do at the end, you place your product or service as the enemy slayer. Here I am, I come here. This is the bait and switch approach. Problem and switch. You are the switch. Your product is the switch. Number 2, the second approach is the demo principle. Demo principle, it proves to be immensely helpful in building a story for your sales pitch. How? Because it is very easy to, if you see, though a demo, you are essentially telling your customer that you should buy this product, not only because it is very good, super duper, but also because of the look. See, it is easy to operate. It is very safe. It is easy to clean. Very easy you can clean, sir. Bring your toothbrush, you can clean it. It is easy to store. It is easy to travel with. Or whatever other feature you just want is visually demonstrated. That is the second principle. Through storytelling, you can enhance your sales through storytelling, bait and switch approach, the demo principle. And now the third one, which we are going to see, is the very fabulous one, before after bridge approach. Before after bridge approach. ये क्या है? Before, here is your world. Before, here is your world. After, imagine what it would be like after. Bridge, this is how my product helps to get there. There comes the hero to solve the hero's problem. Before, after, bridge approach. Before is, here is your world. After is, imagine that it would be like. And then bridge, this is how my product helps to get there. If you see that this before after bridge approach, it is a sort of better version of the perspective principle from B2C sales marketing. One such example, if you ask me, I can give you this Uber. They very actively use this before after bridge approach. Okay, so hope you got the approaches. Now, let me just tell you what is going to be your story and what is that. You have to tell me now. Succeeding with storytelling in sales presentation. Can we succeed now? Have you got that, what is it, a vibe that, yes, ma'am, I can sell really by seeing all the instances and be getting into the stories. Introducing storytelling into your sales presentation, it can feel intimidating. But deviating from a more straightforward pitch involves putting yourself out there in ways that may or may not connect with listeners. I'm not telling that it will not. It may or may not connect with listeners. Having said that, it is still a great skill. Storytelling, it's a great skill to practice. And when it comes to intentionally influencing the feelings of others in the context of sales presentations, there is simply no better tool in your arsenal than the good old-fashioned story. So to conclude today's session, today's masterclass session about this beautiful topic, you all know that people are hardwired to hear stories. With even a simple narrative, producing cortisol and oxytocin, okay, in the body, something, my God, some happiness. You have created really, you have made the person who is listening, you have made them produce this cortisol and oxytocin in the body. Definitely, you are the God. You have done something good, by telling stories. These hormones, my dear, this cortisol and the oxytocin, it induce feelings of trust and empathy. Hope you know that, right? It really gives a person and it induces the feeling of trust and empathy and allow a connection to develop with the storyteller. Or in this case, you, the sales person. So you must customize your storytelling according to your product and client. Ask questions to find out what motivates your customers on an emotional level and tailor your story accordingly. Try to create a mental image for your client and be sure to sprinkle, my dears, please, some humor for good measure. Definitely. And finally, remember that your language doesn't need to be so flowery and butterflies for your story to be effective. Just combine some logic with emotion, facts, with metaphors in a seamless narrative. That's more important. Including dialogue and pop culture references are also great ways to make your story more engaging. Right? So with that, I think it helps. It makes sense what I said, how the storytelling, how you have to make a fabulous presentation, sales presentation by including stories and the power of storytelling in sales. This is an art. As I said, sales is an art. Storytelling in sales It is a modern art and it really closes various deals. Happy selling and see you in the next masterclass session with yet another fabulous topic. Until then, it's bye bye from your growth mentor from Skill Edge. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.